So, good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is sales forecasting. Uh, it's a very important chapter because without forecasting, nothing will move. So, in this chapter, these are the outlines of the chapter. We will study different type of forecasting and what is the importance of the demand planning. We will also study the different methods of the forecasting, and basically we will limit ourselves to qualitative and quantitative methods which are required in the demand planning. So there will be two sessions. One lecture is today and other lecture we will be holding on Tuesday. So now what is forecasting? So forecasting is a process of making the statements about the events whose actual outcomes have not yet been observed. It is somewhat similar to prediction, but prediction is a general term. So the forecasting means we will declare what we want to do. The forecasting is a process of eliminating forecasting is a process of estimating a future event by casting forward the data. Forecasts are necessary to describe the future. For example, we may forecast how many numbers will come in, how many numbers of patients might come in hospital, or how many number of students will take admission in the college, or how many customers will come in the grocery shop, or how many cars are to be manufactured, and so on. So that means we predict the future demand. So demand forecast sets the agenda for how the entire company will use its people, commits its resources, and call on the outside supplier and plan its work schedule. So that means our order planning will be dependent on the forecasting. Forecasting also provides the information to coordinate the demand for the product and services. So as we have seen, forecasting may be for products, that means the tangible products or the discrete products like cars, like washing machines, these type of the products, or the services. So in the services, maybe insurance company, maybe automobile services. Okay, so it is not only limited to the forecasting of the product, tangible product, it is also for the services. So forecast provides the information to coordinate the demands for products and services with supplies of resources that are required to meet the demand. Forecast also provides the information to coordinate the demand for the products and the services with supplies of the resources that are required to meet the demand. So this is we can also say this is a proactive planning. That means the planning in advance. Forecast is to foretell the sales demand volume, how much we are going to make. Marketing models for predicting the sales and deals with the level of uncertainty, and that makes the forecast of the demand volumes and the market share. Say in a rivet and nail factory has to forecast the sales of the product to develop the departmental schedule for the next production period. Okay, they must know how many rivets and how many nails will be required for a particular production period of a plant where they are going to supply. Now, second example may be a Ford company which is manufacturing a car has to forecast the car sale so that the dealer stocks are reasonable size for every model. So that means the dealer will forecast that how many models of each kind they will keep. In every sales forecasting situation, the volatility of the demand will determine how likely it is that a good forecast can be made, because you see markets are always volatile. You never know exactly how many cars are going to be sold, or how many orders are going to come, or how many customers are going to come in a restaurant. So the forecast has to be on the basis of this volatility. The past data are systematically combined in a predetermined time way to obtain the estimate of future. So this is a very beautiful definition of forecast. We take the hint from the past data that last year how much orders were there for this particular item or how many cars were sold, and based on that data, seeing the future situation and the present situation in the market, we can predetermine that either the demand can increase or demand can decrease. So this is exactly the forecasting. So you see here, we plan, forecast, the customers are there. So from the customers, we know how many cars will be required. So we forecast, we plan accordingly. Then accordingly we arrange for the inputs and we start the production process and we make the finished goods. Okay. So we plan how many finished goods will be there and these goods goes to the customer. So this is a cycle which is required to be understood. So the forecasting can be in the marketing scenario or the forecasting can be in the production scenario. So in the marketing scenario, the forecast sales for the new and the existing product, and in production use the sales forecast to plan the production operation and sometime also to generate the sales. Now there are 6 basic steps, important steps which are there in order to make an forecast. The first step is to determine the purpose of the forecast, why we are going to make the forecast, how and when will it be used, indicating the level of the details required. So it is the first question. Second is establish a time horizon. The forecast must indicate the time of interval, keeping in mind that accuracy decreases as the time horizon increases. Means the forecast which we have made last year may not be that accurate for this year. Okay. Third is to obtain, clean and analyze the appropriate data. The data which we have obtained, you clean the data, you take out the trash data and you analyze the appropriate data which is required. Now, fourth step is to select a forecasting technique, and fifth step is to make a forecast, and sixth step is to monitor the forecast error. So forecast error, you see, we have predicted or we have forecasted say 60 cars will be required in the month of January. But when actually demand comes, the demand may be of 58 or demand may be of 65. So that means there will be a difference between the forecast and demand. So that will decide the error. So forecast error should be monitored to determine the forecast if the forecast is performing in the satisfactory manner. If not, we have to re-examine the method, assumptions which we have taken, validation of our data, and so on, and modify as per the need and prepare a revised forecast. So now what should be the characteristics of a good forecast? So a properly prepared forecast should fulfill the following demands or the following requirements. So number one is the forecast should be timely. So for example, the capacity cannot be expanded overnight. Suppose today we are going to make 60 cars. So over the night we cannot double it. So we can have some cushion. With 60 we can make 70 or 66 or maybe 1 or 2% more, but not at random we can make so many cars. Excuse me. Hence the forecasting horizon must be covering the time which are necessary to implement the possible change. So this means the forecast should be timely. Second is the forecast should be accurate. Okay. So the degree of accuracy we define, this will study in the coming slides also. The forecast should be reliable. So it is not like this that when we make the forecast, the production people will say they are always wrong, so they are not relying those. So forecast should be always reliable. Now next is the forecast should be expressed in the meaningful units or user needs. So financial planners need to know how many dollars will be needed. Production planners need to know how many units will be needed, and the scheduler they must know how many machines or the skill or manpower will be required. Okay, so these are the meaningful units. Okay. Now, next is the forecast should be in writing. So it is a document which should be in writing, and it will permit an objective basis for evaluating the forecast when the actual results have come. Next is the technique should be simple and easy to understand. It should be user friendly, as I told earlier. The forecast should be cost effective. That means it should give the benefit. So it should overweigh the cost. Now, regarding the time horizon in the forecasting, so we say the forecasting horizon. So it is very important. So forecast can be made for the various time frames. So normally we divide it into the three category. One is the short-term forecast, which is used for inventory management and the production plans. Second is for mid-term forecasting. It is for deciding the sales pattern and for the product family, how much product mix, what kind of type of products we are going to make. And third is the long term. So long term is for increasing the capacity. How many machines will be required? How many plants will be required? How many people will be required? Okay. So this way we can divide into the three categories. So the short term forecasting, it is from 1 day to 3 months. This forecast for the disaggregated demand, that is, it is for the specific period or for specific geography, etc. Little time to need a little time needed to react to the errors in the demand forecast. So forecasts need to be accurate as accurate as possible. Uh, Normally we use the time series analysis, which is one of the forecasting method. We'll see later. In the absence of the hierarchical data, managers use judgment method. So these are the different types of forecasting method used for the short-term forecasting. Now, medium-term forecasting. So time horizon for the medium-term forecasting is from 3 months to 24 months. It relates to the aggregate planning. That means for sales and operating planning. Medium-term forecast is used to build up the seasonal inventory. That means we make something extra and we keep it in the store. Say if it is a seasonal item, say our apparels sold in winter, or you see the cake, or the things like that, or maybe a rainy coat in the monsoon season, or maybe in the automobile spare parts in the monsoon season, there might be more accidents and like that. So both time series and the causal methods are used. Okay. Now long-term forecasting, the time horizon exceeds to 2 years. Long-term forecasts are used for the process selection, capacity planning, and the location decision. So normally judgmental models and the causal methods are used. So these are the time horizon of the forecasting. Now, type of forecasting methods. So broadly, we can divide into the two categories. One is the objective forecasting methods, which are also known as the quantitative approaches. Okay. Another is subjective forecasting methods, which are known as the qualitative approaches. They depends on what data is available and the distance into the future for which the forecast is made. That means distance means for the time, how long this forecast is going to come. Now, the type of forecasting method. So these are the two methods which we have just talked about. So subjective methods are Salesforce composite survey, Bureau of Executive Opinion, and Delphi methods. And in objective methods, we use the causal method and the time series method. So we will discuss one by one. Quantitative forecasting. First we take qualitative forecasting. So qualitative forecasting techniques are subjective, based on the opinion and judgment of the consumer expert. They are approximate when past data are not available. Okay, they are usually applied to intermediate or the long range decision. Quantitative forecasting. These models are used to forecast the future data as a function of the past data, and they are approximate when the past data are available. So these methods are usually applied to short term or the immediate range decision. So subjective methods. So we will go one by one. First is the sales force composite. So we use our team of the sales people. So marketers have the sales manager or the representative at the different sales territory. This territory may be at the district level or at the regional. And the market believe that the sales manager know their territory better than the anybody else. So sales manager know that in this particular area, this is the choice of the customer and they are going to purchase this kind of product. So manager asks the respective sales manager to forecast the expected sales in their own territories. The total of all those estimates basically gives the company's sales demand forecast for the next period. So it is like this. Suppose the sales manager of the North India, they know that how many states are there. So state wise there will be sales manager, then there will be district wise sales manager. So they will be collecting the data and they will be making the demand for the north region wise. Okay. Now customer survey. So marketers ask the buyer about how many units they would like to purchase from ABC company product for coming part of the year. So this we go to the customer and we determine their demands. Okay, we determine which product of which make you would like to have. Suppose ACs are there, so we can conduct the customer survey. Third is the jury of executive opinion method. The appropriate managers within the organization assemble. So we make a team of the expert, okay, jury of executive opinion. So appropriate managers within the organization assemble to discuss their opinion on what will happen in future for a particular item as far as the sales is concerned. The resulting forecast is the mixture of the opinion which is obtained in the this meeting of jury. Next is the Delphi method. It is a extension of jury method only, and it is very important. This method gathers, evaluates, and summarizes the expert opinion on the basis as the basis for the forecast, but the procedure is more formal than that of the jury of executive opinion method. So this is what I've told. So Delphi method has the following step. Number one step, various experts are asked to answer independently and in writing a series of questions about the future sales of a product whenever other area is being forecasted. Okay. Step 2. The summary of all these answers is then prepared. No expert knows how any other expert answered these questions. So this is kept secret. Step 3. The copies of the summaries are given to the individual expert with the request that they modify their original answer if they need it is necessary. And in step 4, another summary is made of these modifications and copies are made again. And they are distributed to the experts. So this time, the expert opinion that deviate significantly from the norms, it need to be justified in writing. In the next step, a third summary is made of the opinion and justification, and the copies are given to again to the experts, and justification in the writing for all the answer is required. And in the step 6, we generate the forecast from all of the opinions and justification which have been collected in above 5 steps. So this method is quite used and it is quite effective. Now next kind is the next type is the time series analysis method. A time series, as the name suggests, it involves numbers of factors. So a time series is a time ordered sequence of the observations taken at the regular intervals. That means hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, 6 monthly. Okay. So like that. The data may be measurement of the demand, earning, profit, shipment accident, output, precipitations, productivity, or the consumer price index. So number of factors are there which are required to make the model. So analysis of the time series data requires the analyst to identify the underlying behavior of the series So behaviors can be described as follow. So first is the trend. So this refers to a long-term upward or the downward movement in the data. So these things we'll see in the coming slides. Population shifts, changing incomes, cultural changes often account for such movements. Okay. Second factor is the seasonality. So as we were talking about the seasonality concept in the product, like winter products, rainy products, like that. Seasonality refers to the short-term, fairly regular variation generally related to the factors such as calendar or the time of the day. So restaurant, during the festive season, the demands in restaurant increase, or in supermarkets and the theaters. So they experience weekly and even daily seasonal variation. Maybe at the weekends there will be more demand in restaurants, in supermarkets, in theaters. So seasonal effect is there. Okay. Then the cycles. Cycles are wave-like variations of more than 1 year duration. So these are often related to the variation of economical, political, and even agriculture conditions. So you see when the crop harvesting is there. So once the crop is there in the market, so there is a impetus in the market for getting the new products. Okay. Similarly, if there is a change in the political situation, the things like come. So another factor is the irregular variations. They are due to the unusual circumstances, such as severe weather conditions, strikes, or major change in a product or services, like these days pandemics. So the demand of the peripherals in computers, it has increased. Okay, or the demand in the medical prescriptions, or maybe the gloves and sanitizers, it has, and because of the weather irregular variations. Okay, so they do not reflect the typical behavior, and their inclusion in series can distort overall picture. So that's why the things have changed. So you see the product which was there at some 10,000 rupees, now it is being sold at 40,000, 60,000. So it is a irregular trend. Okay. Then random variations are the residual variations that remains after all other behaviors have been accounted for. So there can be some random behaviors also. So now we see the time series patterns. So these are the time series patterns. Demand is plotted on one side, time is on the other side. So it is purely random, non-recognizable pattern. You cannot say anything about this pattern. So it is increasing. It is a linear. You can put a line, and it is increasing demand. Okay. So you see here it is seasonal. So sometime it is going up, sometime it is going down with the time, and it is also increasing, and it is curvilinear trend. It may be so it may be increasing with a spurt, so it can be a parabolic trend also. So that's why we say it's a curvilinear type of demand. So these are the time series patterns. So we have to identify the correct pattern. So in order to identify, what we do, we collect the data, look for the possible causes and effects and the relationship, determine which form can be used to generate the pattern, and determine the specific value of the parameters. The forecasting methods which are used um, in the time series. So they are moving average methods, weighted moving average methods, exponential smoothing, seasonal forecasting, and the trend analysis. So out of this, we will study 3-4 methods in our next class. So before that, you can see the time series variation. You see, this is the time series variation with the random variation. So demand is there, time is there. So you see the variations are random. The data in the time series may consist of several kind of variation. Important of them are the random variation and increasing or decreasing trend and the seasonal variation. So this is a random variation you have seen. Next is the time series with the random variation with the increasing demand. You see, the demand is increasing, so there is a trend. Okay. Now the time series with the random variation and the decreasing trend. So as the time is increasing, the trend is decreasing, the demand is decreasing. Okay. Now this is a seasonal variation. So at a particular time, the demand is at peak, then it comes down, then again it increases and again comes down. So there is a seasonal cyclic variation, okay, of the demand. The demand is more or less constant. You see, there are very few difference. It is on the higher side and it is on the lower side. It is more or less same. Now, the time series with random variation, seasonal variation and increasing trend. So you see, it is with the season, it is increasing. It is with the season, it is increasing. So there is a trend. Okay. So these are the variations we have seen. So in our next class, we are going to have one by one all of these methods and how to solve the different demand pattern and how to find the accuracy of the forecasting methods. So with this, we stop here. So we'll thank you very much for the patience listening.